Roland is not putting out the best stuff that they can do. My thoughts on that are coming up. What's up, Justin here, welcome to 65 Drums. This is the place to keep on top of all things electronic drum related, so thanks for stopping by. Today I'm talking about Roland and the fact that they're holding back from what they're truly capable of. So let me paint a picture here. In the beginning was Simmons. Well, not really. There were other companies before Simmons. I've got a history on Edrums video down in the description below if you want to go check that out. It's not a perfect video or anything, but it'll give you a general idea on the way Edrums have evolved over the years. But Simmons was the first leader in electronic drums, and that's why they have that as their tagline. They kind of crumbled, and out of the rubble comes Roland and Yamaha, and they're going head to head pretty much for 2 decades until we get to the current day. It was kind of like an iOS versus Android thing. You could go with Yamaha, you could go with Roland. There were pros and cons to buying each drum set. Roland and Yamaha love their high margins. What used to be justifiable back in the 90s and the early 2000s isn't really justifiable anymore. Now, Yamaha has never been quite as expensive as Roland. Like even now, their highest priced electronic drum set is like $4,500 or something like that. The DTX 900 line. By the way, I just played that again for like the 5th time, and man, that thing feels ancient. It looks like it was made back in the 90s. It doesn't sound as good as modern drum modules. On the other hand, you've got Roland trying to sell their flagship, the TD50KV, for $7,000. Now, I understand the argument that quality costs money, but if you look at the keyboard side, Roland isn't drastically overpricing their keyboards versus the competition. It just seems like for some reason, they've decided that Roland drums have to be incredibly high priced. This was okay-ish back when components were incredibly overpriced, when they had the patents to mesh heads, when they made the best drum modules, and when drum module components were incredibly high priced. But now the components for computers are incredibly low priced, mesh heads are free for people to use now, you know, good quality piezos and foam aren't that expensive. Acoustic drum shells, you can build an acoustic drum set. If you're a company, you can build one for $100, maybe $150. It's not expensive to make that stuff anymore. So all the excuses that Roland and Yamaha had for making high-priced drum sets are gone now. Now you have competition on the drum module side from Tubox. You know, ATV has a semi-decent drum module out. You got companies like Alesis finally coming out with a really decent drum module. Pearl comes out of nowhere and just releases the Pearl Mimic, and that took a lot of people by surprise. Roland isn't like the leader in electronic drum modules anymore. They have one of the best ones. The TD50 is a rock solid drum module. I absolutely love it, but it doesn't sound quite as good as a Pearl Mimic. Roland has the advantage of their digital pads, but the problem is that's not gonna be as big of a game changer yet. All they've done is they've got a digital snare and a digital ride. They've got a lot of sensors in it, but from playing it in person, it's not a giant paragon shift from the analog pads. It really isn't yet. When they have a fully digital drum set and everyone's finally on the USB standard, that will really be something. But as of right now, it's not worth the $7,000 price tag to get in on something like that, just in my personal opinion. I absolutely love that ride and that snare. They're my favorite electronic ride and snare pads, but that's only 2 pads. Their entire flagship is riding on that ride cymbal and that snare pad. So I feel like that's a little weak. And every single time Roland comes out with a new flagship, they bump up the price $1,000. Of course, you know, this varies from country to country, but eventually we're gonna see something like a TD70 or a TD80, and it's gonna be $10,000. They always give everything they've got on the high end. The problem is they dangle that in front of you and then hardly give you anything worth talking about on their lower end drum modules. So something like a Roland TD11, that drum module's been out since 2012, and they still haven't updated it at all. The sounds aren't holding up. They're great for practice and everything. I know lots of people that love the TD11, but for 2017 or 2018, whenever you're watching this, it's not really something that holds up. And that drum module, the TD11, should be on the TD1. And I'm not even joking about this. They should literally take the TD11 and put it on the TD1. The TD25, that drum module needs to be on the TD11. The TD30 drum module needs to be on the TD25. Everything needs to be shifted down. The TD1 is ridiculous. I don't understand why Roland has made this drum module so limited. The sounds are okay, but again, there's not much competition near the $500 range, so because there's not much competition down there at $500, Roland just didn't try. Roland is holding back, especially with their mesh drums. They always have these rubber pads, and then they charge you an arm and a leg to get the mesh head version of that rubber pad. And then when they give you that mesh head version, like on a Roland TD11KV, those mesh heads are freakishly tiny. Like the high toms are 6.5 inches across. Now they've got a plastic rim around that and then a rubber rim around that, so it ends up being like 8 inches across, but the actual playing surface is only 6.5 inches across. Roland needs to provide more value. They have the capability, they have the supply chain, they have the technicians, they literally have the entire deck of cards stacked in their favor. Right now, they could make the best line of electronic drum sets at every single price point if they wanted to. It's just that they're choosing not to. The TD50KV shouldn't be over $5,000. They shouldn't sell it for over $5,000. It should be sold for maybe $5,000 or maybe $4,000, and one day it will. When the TD70 comes out, you'll be able to buy a TD50 for $5,000, $4,000, and eventually you'll be able to buy it for $3,000. This is what just confuses me about Roland. They want to position themselves as this premium brand when they have the capability to make an incredible line of drum sets that would literally just give them 80% market share instantly. They could come out with this new line of drum sets and price it in a way to get everyone to start buying their stuff again. And I don't understand why they've decided to cling desperately to their profit margins. Until Roland starts putting an incredible amount of value into their drum sets, they're gonna see all these other companies chip away their stuff. They're gonna see people go to ATV, which they are. They're gonna see people buying 2-box drum modules, which they are. They're gonna see people running away to Alesis, which they are. If Yamaha comes out with a new drum set, people are gonna run back to Yamaha. There are so many companies like that, and that's not even counting companies like DrumTech or Jobeki or Field or Diamond. There's so many companies out there that are just waiting for people to stop buying Roland stuff. The only thing holding Roland together is their incredible marketing machine. Their high-end electronic drum sets are incredible, and I absolutely love them. They're overpriced though. So the only reason that they're selling them is that they've got one of the most incredible marketing teams the world has ever seen. They have the buying power to hire someone like Johnny Rabb to do promo videos. Johnny Rabb's an absolute amazing drummer. They have the pricing power to hire someone like, or contract someone like Michael Shack in order to cut advertisements for them. Until Roland realizes that they've got to start charging realistic prices and start putting incredible value in drum sets that cost $1,000, that cost $1,500. Until they do that, Roland will never reclaim the crown that they used to have. They used to have so much market share, it was incredible. But now Alesis is stealing that away. ATV is going to start chipping away at that. 2-box, Pearl's coming back. It's amazing what's happening. There's like so many things that drummers want that Roland just isn't doing, except at the very, very high end. And they continue to dangle that flagship drum set to try to get drummers to buy their stuff, and then they just leave the scraps at the $1,000 mark, at the $800 mark, you know what I mean? I like Roland, obviously. You can tell that from my videos. I've spent thousands of dollars on a Roland TD30K, and who knows, I might end up buying stuff from them in the future. Still love the products that they're doing. They have some of the smartest people working for them. They're making some really innovative stuff, like that digital snare, like that digital ride. I love the TD50 drum module, but their pricing strategy for all this stuff is really, really not smart. And it's not going to work for them in the long run. Roland can literally take over the entire e-drum market anytime they choose if they just do a handful of things. And it just really doesn't make any sense at all. Am I crazy right? Am I crazy wrong? Let me know down in the comments below. See you guys in a few.